What's up? My name is Carlos Alberto Ojeda Jr. But you don't have to worry about that. You can call me Chu, because that's what my friends and family called me. I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, right across the river from New York City. You could see the New York City skyline from my crib, but growing up, you couldn't tell me that, because I thought I lived in Puerto Rico. Everybody in my neighborhood looked like me, dressed like me, talked like me, ate the same food I did, danced the same music I did. I never, ever, ever, ever saw white people, except on TV and in the malls. And when we saw them in the malls, we'd be like, look, white people. Oye, Juan, take a picture. We could put it on Instagram. Because when you grow up, you only learn what your environment shows you. You only learn what your neighborhood teaches you, and you can't be blamed for that, but you can be blamed for letting it stay that way. Because the world is beautiful and diverse, and there's so much to learn and so much to experience. And you just have to tap into that little part that every child has that just wants to touch things and experience things and do things, because life changes, and you've got to change with it. And when I was 10 years old, my life changed forever. Because when I was 10 years old, I was riding my bike from my house to the corner, because that's what my mama said I could do. And I had one of those scary little militant Puerto Rican moms, you know, the type that if you don't do what she tells you to do, she kills you, all right? Don't laugh, she had a semi-automatic belt. She was gangster, all right? So I rode my bike to the corner, and when I got to the corner, there was a drug deal going down. And a shootout ensued, and one guy shot another one in the head. I was 10 years old the first time I witnessed my first murder. All my friends broke out running. Me, I didn't even ride my bike back to the house. I just dragged it with me as I ran. Walked into the house scared, breathing hard, looking at my mother. The cops came and started canvassing the neighborhood, and the whole neighborhood came outside to watch. And as we were watching, and as the police officers got closer and closer to my house, my father walked out. Now, my father is this tall, diesel, evil-looking, dark-skinned Puerto Rican man. So ugly, he deserved to be on America's Most Wanted. Seriously, if he was walking down the street, and you were walking down the street, you do this. I got to cross the street. But he came out and he looked at me and he said, you didn't see anything. And my mother and my father began to discuss what was going to happen, what they were going to do. They were arguing. My mom didn't want to raise her kids in this craziness. So finally they decided that it was time to leave. So they packed me up. Everything I knew and loved. Took me from the only place I've ever called home, moved me from the New York City skyline, and moved me all the way to a place called Reading, Pennsylvania. There were horses and buggies on the way to Reading, Pennsylvania. And that kind of culture shock, it was like Amish mafia up in there. And I just wasn't ready for that. And the culture shock got worse when they took me to school. Because when they took me to school, they took one look at the way my mom was dressed. They took one listen to her heavy, thick accent, and they knew exactly where to put me. They put me in bilingual, but bilingual back in the days isn't the way bilingual is now. Bilingual back in the days, they just took anybody that didn't speak the language and they put them in a room together. So it was me, a kid from Korea, a kid from Germany, and a Jamaican kid. And none of us were learning English. We were all learning how to curse each other out in each other's languages. And pretty soon I got bored, started looking at the regular classes, and I made an awesome, groundbreaking discovery. There were some really hot girls in the regular classes. And all I had were these three freaky guys, you know? So I raised my hand and said, Miss, I want to go with them. And the lady came to me and she says, "Aw, you're so cute. You can't go with them. You aren't from around here." I didn't know what this was all about. But obviously there was a miscommunication. So I went home and I told my father. Now my father is what you call a New Yorican. Came from Puerto Rico, but he grew up in the New York metropolitan area, grew up in the Bronx. And I walked in, I said, "Yo, Dad." My dad's like, "Yo, what's up?" I said, "Pops, they put me in bilingual." My dad's like, "For real?" I was like, "For real, for real." He's like, "For real, for real, for real?" I was like, "For real." And so my father decided it was time to change that. He said, "We're going to school." And the next day, I was so excited to go to school. I was looking at the teachers like, "You guys are going to get it. My dad's going to punch you. He's going to punch you. You're getting punched twice." And my father walked up and said, "Why is my son in bilingual?" And they really couldn't give him an answer because they just put me there. They labeled me. They said, "This is who you are, and this is who you're going to be." They put me in a little box, and that's it. Nobody asked me what I wanted or what I thought I needed. Nobody asked me my dreams. They just labeled me. But from the moment you're born until you die, someone's always going to try and label you. Short, tall, fat, skinny, pretty, ugly, gifted, troubled. Black, white, gay, straight. It's up to you to decide whether you live up to the labels that people try to put on you or you tear those labels up, throw those labels away. Don't ever, ever let anyone tell you who you are or who you will become. That is for you to decide, your destiny to fulfill. And while I didn't understand that then, my father believed that. So he asked them, is there a test that you can give my son? And they said, yes. Well, they give him the test, and they did. And I aced it. Because I spoke English and Spanish, wrote English and Spanish, read English and Spanish. Man, I dreamed in English and Spanish. I speak French now. Je parle le français très bien. J'ai étudié le français pour 6 ans. And that's about all I know how to say. So my father got an apology. They said, we're sorry. We're going to put him in regular classes on Monday. And we started walking out, but I was walking out looking at the teachers like this. What? Because we straight punked them. And I could get away with anything. I could see the power shift. I was so happy as we walked out in my moment of joy, in my moment of happiness, in my moment of triumph, out of nowhere, my dad slapped me in the back of the head. Really, really hard. You know, my eyes watered up. I thought I had allergies, you know. And I looked at my dad and said, why'd you hit me? I didn't do anything. And my dad said, exactly. You didn't do anything. You let them put you in a corner where you don't belong. You let them take your voice. Your voice is your power. It's the one thing given to you from birth so that you can stand your ground, lay claim to your destiny, speak your mind. And you let them steal it from you. I don't send you to school to waste away. I send you to learn, to be better, because you are the hopes and dreams of our family. Just like every student that's here today is the hopes and dreams of their families. Just like every child is the hopes and dreams of their families. But somewhere along the line, their generation and my generation, we've grown silent. We were told that it's better to be seen, not heard, that our opinions don't matter, that our dreams are irrelevant, that our ideas are flights of fancy. But that is the greatest lie ever told. Because great revolution, positive change comes from the unbridled imagination of young people willing to look at the world and ask a simple question. Why can't it be this way instead of that way? They look at problems that seem impossible and they say, what if we try this? All throughout history, civil rights movement, we often think of Martin Luther King and the I Have a Dream speech. But truthfully, years before, 4 college students sat at a counter in Woolworth in Greensboro, North Carolina. And when they were asked to leave and refuse service, they refused to get up. And their passive defiance, their peaceful defiance, it set off a chain reaction, a catalyst for a youth-fueled sit-ins throughout the entire South, a revolution that fueled the civil rights movement. Even more contemporary, Alex from Alex Lemonade Stand. She was 4 years old, and after her latest transplant, she looked at her mother and said, hey, I want to do a lemonade stand, and I want to take that money and give it to the doctor so that they can help other kids like me. And our family, they worked together, and between family and friends, they raised $2,000. And even though it was a tough struggle every year, they did it again and again. When Alex was 8 years old, she passed away. She lost her battle to cancer. But she wasn't going to lose the war, because when she passed away, her foundation had raised $1 million for cancer research for children. 4-year-old kid thinking that she can take on something as crazy as cancer. But she did. Joshua Wong, this 18-year-old kid is the face of the pro-democracy rallies in Hong Kong. They brought Hong Kong to a standstill, asking for free elections. This 18-year-old kid is a force of nature. This young lady is the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner at the age of 17. Malala defied the Taliban and continues to struggle. She struggles for education for all children, especially girls. This is Mosiah. Started his first business at the age of 9, creating handmade bow ties. He's made $200,000 and was on Shark Tank last year and got an amazing deal. And Christopher Gray, He wanted to go to college, and he knew his family didn't have the money to make it happen. So he researched and he worked like a part-time job and got tons of scholarships to the amount of $1.3 million. So what did he do? He didn't just do it for himself. He took all the knowledge that he gained on how to find the right scholarships, and he created an app that's going to revolutionize how kids get scholarships to go to school. And he was on Shark Tank too, and he got tons of money. And this young man, Zach Lindsay, I met 2 weeks ago at an event for McDonald's, and I was the keynote speaker for the event, but he stole the show. This young kid started his first business at 12 years old, but that's not what's amazing about him. He would ride his skateboard into a park, and he would see tons of homeless people, and he felt it was so wrong that these people couldn't even afford a meal. So he went into McDonald's and he got about 20 McChicken sandwiches, and he ride his skateboard through the park giving the food. And pretty soon he got a bunch of his friends to start doing it, and they called it McChicken Monday. And pretty soon they were buying 40, 50, 60 McChickens and handing it out. Well, McDonald's caught wind. And not only did they give him scholarship money to go to school, and they told him that just in case he was worried because he was going to have to go to school, that they were going to fund McChicken Mondays and do it on Wednesday too. This kid saw a problem, and he found a solution. There are tons of evidence of children, of young people, young, amazing pioneers changing this world. Imagine what any of the students can. Any young person can change, because at the end of the day, youth plus power equals change. And don't get me wrong, our generation, they're mad declarative. They drop periods all over the place on social media. LOL, BFF, poking people. Don't poke me, I will punch you. Never realizing that the question mark is far more powerful than the period. We've got to ask questions. If you don't know something in class, you raise your hand, you ask the question. If you need something, you raise your hand, you ask the question. If you see something go down that's not right, if you see injustices, if you see people being treated in ways that you would never wish you or your family to be treated, if you see things that need to change, you question it, because your voice is your power. Because with that voice, you can ask questions. Questions give you answers. Answers give you knowledge, and knowledge gives you power. Knowledge gives you what? I can't hear you. Knowledge gives you what? The power to change. And that's what these young people are here to do today. Each and every one of them are going to use their voice to share their knowledge, to share their idea, to share their power with you. Power that will change this world, because their voice is their power. With that voice, they can ask questions, and they will get answers, and they will get knowledge. And knowledge will give them what? That's the voice of change. That's the voice of ideas. That's the voice of these young people. Let it be heard, everybody. Let everybody hear it. Thank you.